Welcome to a Friday Reads, where I talk about what I read, what I'm reading, and I'm not going to talk about what I get to next because next Tuesday you will get my February TBR, so that feels redundant. I will continue and try to finish the things that I have started because I am in the middle of many a thing. Many. And I can talk to you about one thing I finished because it's like 2 things I can't talk about for the secret project. We're almost there. 3.5 books left. 3.5 books left. It's not bad. I'm not having a bad time. That secret project is what is fueling my puzzles right now. I did this puzzle this week, which was not as bad as I thought it would be, but still not my favorite type of puzzle. This entered the house via Ryan's mom, and so I have one more puzzle that she gave us that I might be doing this winter, and then I have one more puzzle I bought for myself like in 2018 that I haven't done yet. Anyways, that's a tangent. But the thing I finished, The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. I don't know what more I can say about this book that I haven't already said in many recent videos, in my standalone spoiler-free review that I posted 2 years ago, and then I am going to finish up my spoiler vlog of this for patrons in the nearish future. I just need to collect my thoughts on the last part because I've been checking in each part and there's 4 parts. But I love it. I just do. And I got to finish reading it Saturday afternoon, which was really fun. And I had the apartment to myself, and then I put it down, had some food, watched some of my YouTube, and I'm like, what do I want to do next? Do I want to work on my jigsaw puzzle? I think I decided I didn't want to work on the jigsaw puzzle anymore because I was working on the project books. I'm like, I can't. Some of the project books are not fun. There's going to be some spice in that video. But I decided, no, I want to do things that bring me joy. So I was on my Kindle. I hadn't started Interference yet, so I was looking at that, seeing if I was in the headspace for that type of sci-fi. Wasn't quite there at the moment on Saturday. And then suddenly I decided, I just finished The Unbroken. I want to read The Faithless. It's one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and I have it. Why not? Just read it. And so I let myself mood read and pick it up, and then suddenly 3 chapters later, I am so obsessed, and I'm just both want to read it all the time. It flows like butter in my head, which I know the writing style by C.L. Clarke does not work for everyone, but for me, the way they write, it works in my head. It just works, and that's the thing there. But also, there's the whole, I don't want it to be over because I don't know when I'm getting book 3, and I know this is going to be messy. I don't know how much I can say about the plot, but we are following this world about a year after the huge events in The Unbroken. And The Faithless is a very good title, especially for this world where magic is tied to gods and you need to have faith, and both Luca and Teren have issues with faith, a lot of them based off the Belladere Society. So that's a really good title, especially with the cover being Luca. What else can I say? I don't know. It's just messy, and it keeps exploring this really problematic, messy dynamic between these 2 individuals. We get to explore that, but we're also still exploring how much a role identifies a person, what is your identity when you're in between 2 worlds, but also I just love the politics. I don't know. I like how C.L. Clarke focuses in on scenes. I like how they do time jumps. I like how they set a setting. There was potentially more, not ballroom stuff, but there's definitely more court dynamics that I tend to enjoy in this one. So far, I'm just having a great time. It's just a lot of mess. It's just completely enjoyable and compulsively consumable to me. And I get that C.L. Clarke is not compulsively consumable for everyone. But for me, the way that there's an intentional focus, in particular, there's a focus C.L. Clarke has on what people do with their hands and their face and their posture in a scene in a way that, I notice it, and I'm I like that because that is more informative to me in how I visually read than a lot of other descriptors. Those are moments that I can be oh, I can really see how this character is acting in the moment. And that might not work for everyone, but it's something I really appreciate the focus of. So it works really great. I'm really, really liking the sequel. So I think if you like The Unbroken, you're going to like The Faithless. And it's reminding me of how consumable The Mask of Mirrors was for me to read. Now, I wouldn't say they're the same type of story at all, but I do think there's a potential writing style connection based off my patrons and my Discord. If you like one, you might like the writing style of the other, even though they're very different subgenres of fantasy. I don't know, try that out. I just love it. So that's Saturday. I let myself mood read, and I'm still only 30-some% of the way through, but it's every time I pick it up, I'm just yes, and I can't wait for hopefully this weekend I'll have a good chunk of time to just sit down and devour it, hopefully, maybe. I mean, I'm also doing this whole thing this year where I just try and read books at the pace they want to be read and not think about, oh, you have to finish by the end of the month or else or else what? I don't know. But you know, the pressures of finishing things at the end of the month because you want the fresh start at the next month. I then also picked up Interference on, it might have been late Sunday, or for sure Monday. Actually, no, I did it Monday for patron reading sprints because suddenly the people I asked to buddy read it with actually started on Monday, like we talked about, and there were spoiler tabs, and I want to click on the spoiler tabs. If you ever want to buddy read something with me, make there be spoiler information that I can't consume until I catch up, and I will catch up. That's what happens. That's how you get me. And it's really fun. I'm only 3 chapters in, but these are long chapters. The Symbiosis Interference duology has long chapters. And again, how much can I say about this? So in the first book, Symbiosis, we have a group of, like, a generation of humanity traveling to this planet that has plant life, it has good oxygen level, it has a little bit more gravity, and they're going there, and the whole goal of Symbiosis as a book is to see over the course of, I believe, 6 generations what this society does to survive and evolve and develop. And then Interference, the focus of that is, okay, where is that society 100 years after the end of Symbiosis? And then what happens, on this planet when it's going through, like, kind of a change, but also when old Earth, which has gone through its own stuff, decides to interfere again, or, you know, re-add itself to the equation after all of this time has passed. And it's just, I love the way Sue Burke is approaching this thought experiment. It's really engaging to me. In both works, she has been able to create classic sci-fi tension for me that keeps me wanting to know what happens next. But it's also, like, it's not a thriller, it's not a horror, but it has tension. And I like seeing how things play out. I like when my expectations are subverted. I really enjoy the world building. So yeah, that's been meeting my expectations, which is exciting. So those are 2 that I started that I didn't talk about last week. I am still continuing. Well, I guess I didn't talk, said I was going to start this, but I haven't talked about any of the stories yet. But I've read Africa Risen. We've read, I think, the first 5 stories since I last checked in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. We've read 6 in this collection, and I'm enjoying it. It's definitely one of those anthologies that's feeling like a 4-star anthology so far. I'm really appreciating the variety of stories that we've had, both from different perspectives in the world, but also just the different focuses of stories. I've had a folklore, kind of, sort of, almost fairy tale adjacent story. I've had some really hard sci-fi stories. I've had a lot of genre speculative fiction. I just had one with, like, ghosts. So there's a range. Obviously not everything's a hit because it's an anthology, but I love the project of it. The audiobook is really good if you have access to it, because it has different narrators for different stories. So this is one I'm just reading one a day, buddy reading it with Shannon and Kristen, which is always a blast. I do think my favorites so far, so the first one, The Blue House, has to do with, like, a far future world where the humanity that's still alive made themselves into droids, and we're in particular following this one droid who has potentially found a processing system on themselves that was their, like, humanity code, and processing the reawakening of that when they discover a blue house, which was fascinating. I really liked March Magic, which looks at different representations of, like, witches from different cultures, and while they come together to help aid, not even directly aid, but they are coming together during the moment of the Martin Luther King speech. So that has kind of the Ballad of Perilous Graves, The Great Cities, kind of that genre-y sort of contemporary thing that has to do with politics in the United States. I don't know how else to describe it, but it felt like those works. IRL was really cool. This is, like, you could be in another world and make a bunch of casts in, like, the virtual world, like World of Warcraft, but, like, bigger and more virtual, like, you know, virtual reality, like, you can interact with it, but it's actually, like, its own economy, its own thing that's just as important as real life, and they actually run court cases there, and it's about this one kid who is really powerful there, but not powerful in the real world, trying to change the course of a court case for a reason for his own life, and that was also really cool world building. Deification of Igodo was the one that was, like, the folklore, and Mommy Waterworks was probably my least favorite. That one was a really cool world, but I didn't like the plot. And then Rear Mirror was the one with the ghosts and kind of commentary on forcing a religion on a group that doesn't want it and what that can do if there was supernatural forces around. So that's been really fun. Excited to keep reading a story of that a day. And then I am still continuing slowly the Open Veins of Latin America. I am in the section that just makes me rage. I mean, everything makes me rage. I have 2 bookmarks, one where I am and one that's the end of this next chapter, because these are, like, huge chapters. And Yeah, I'm in the section where I realize, because I'm, not always aware of things, that sugar and coffee are not native to the Americas. And they were brought over, and they ruined the agriculture because they basically overused the land, and it caused crashes in the economy. There was a fascinating section on Cuba. And this is definitely a nonfiction work where, I am of the opinion that all nonfiction works have an agenda. The idea of an unbiased nonfiction work does not exist to me. I mean, as someone who reads scientific papers that are so dry, but I can also see the bias, that's the important thing. You just have to know there's the bias, and just knowing that helps inform what you're reading and help you interpret it and make your own decisions and figure out what questions you should be asking to help affirm, that's how one reads critically. But I just want to say, for anyone who picks up, strong bias towards socialism in this work. Which, I really see where they're coming from. It's unsurprising to me. A lot of intellectuals from South America and Central America lean that way. And, a lot of it is because of how they've been abused by capitalism and imperialism and things like that. So, yeah. And so it was interesting learning about parts of Cuba's history, especially since this book came out in the 70s. And so the Revolution of Cuba happened in, the 60s. So he's commentating on that moment, a decade and a half after it happens, which is also such a time capsule of a thing to read about. And also, it's done in a way that's very opposite of however you're taught about it in the United States. In the United States, you learn about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and you are taught about people coming over from Cuba to the United States, and usually with a very negative lens of, they were fleeing for their lives. You don't get a very nuanced approach to what happened with Cuba. So that was really interesting, and the footnotes are pretty sassy. He basically calls someone an idiot. He uses the word idiotic in a footnote. So that's the type of bias that can bleed through in this work. But as someone who hates when people do things inefficiently, learning about how they abused the soil and the fertility of the soil for sugar and coffee, and it's just depressing. It's just so depressing. So yeah, I'm continuing this. It is informative, but it's slow. It's a 5 to 10 pages a day type of read. So those are the things I am currently in the middle of. I did not get this book recently, but I keep forgetting to show it to you guys because I have it way up on my shelves. But this was a Christmas present from one of my best friends back home. We did a Secret Santa, and I've had this book on my wish list for years, and no one ever buys it for me. And I finally, for the Secret Santa, we had a price list, and I put it on the wish list being I'm cool with you thinking of your own thing. I'm cool with a gift card to these places, or I'm cool with this. I try to be as least problematic as possible for people when they're doing the gifts. And I have the Spanish edition of Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I have wanted this ever since the inner flaps of my leatherbound has this cover, and I think it's so pretty. But the naked cover, really nice. But it's this is so nice. Look at this. I really love it. And then the inside are the color-coded maps. This is the 10th anniversary Spanish edition as well. And I'm so excited to read it one day. I need to work up to it. I'm starting right now with His Dark Materials and Matilda, because I'm working up to it. I did, last week, have an entire conversation in Spanish via text with my aunt, and so that was an accomplishment. Did I still have to Google a lot of words? Yes, I did. But it was kept relatively in real time, so that was nice. But this is a nice thing to have on my shelf, to have me excited to get to. And I have the audiobook for it as well. So that makes me happy. And I'm getting better at reading Spanish. I'm getting there. It's just such a process because there are just so many words you don't know. You take for granted how many words you know in a language, and there's just so many. And I know hundreds of words in Spanish, but I guess you just need thousands. I don't actually know how many words you need in a language to be literate, I guess, Because, there are definitely words in English I don't know, but, it's obviously such a small percentage that it doesn't bother me when I read. I just, get the context clues or I glaze over it, stuff like that. Only other updates for you guys on this Friday Reads is I'm making good progress on Horizon Zero Dawn. I have defeated, 3 Thunderjaws since I last talked. One of them I cheesed hard. Extra hard. I know I said that about one Thunderjaw a week ago. No. This one, I, was able to one-shot it the way I cheesed it. It's not efficient in terms of resource management, but it's efficient in terms of my anxiety. So, but yes. And I'm really close to getting a really cool item. So I'm working towards that. But I'm done playing it for the day because my head hurts. Because the weather has been so bad. When the weather changes, my head just, ugh. And I like sometimes I take something and it helps, but it hasn't really been working. It's been so draining. But that's Horizon Zero Dawn. And then I was telling you last Saturday, I was having fun doing stuff for me, and so I rewatched Stardust because Saturday earlier, and it's live now, Elliot Brooks did a discussion on Trust in the Emerald Sea, so if you want my spoiler thoughts, that video exists. There will be more spoiler thoughts when Roger has it on his channel in a week or so, and that'll be Roger, Stephanie, Jesse, and I. So lots of Trust thoughts out there that just aren't on this channel. But while we were discussing it, because it reminds me so much of Stardust that night, I was like, Ryan's not going to rewatch Stardust with me because Ryan doesn't like rewatching things, which, like, fair. I'm going to rewatch Stardust. And I did. And it was delightful. Like, it makes me so angry that the book is just not tonally the same at all. Like, I guess I don't even know if the book is good because the book is so aggressively not what I want it to be that I can't get past it. Because I read the book after the movie, and, like, the book has no whimsy, the book has no rom-com, like, the book is so serious, and, like, the characters are not the same at all. Like, where's the funny ghosts? I mean, there might be ghosts, but I don't think they're funny. So anyways, though, I love Stardust. It's so good. So that was a delight. And Abbott Elementary is, that's what's getting me through January, if I'm being honest. Gregory is everything. I love Greg. I mean, I love them all. Like Barbara. I just learned Barbara was Rita in Oliver and Company. Or at least, like, I think she's both the speaking and singing voice, but you know how Disney can do both. I think she's Rita, and I listened to the song, it sounded like Barbara, and I'm like, oh my god, which I love Oliver and Company, guys. That Disney movie does not get as much love as it deserves. I love it so much. It makes me cry all the time. I love it. But anyways, I love everyone in Abbott Elementary. Like, we're almost done with season 1, and then we're gonna catch up on season 2. Like, we only watch like an episode or 2 a night, mainly because we don't watch that much TV, and we do other things, but also, trying to savor it, because nothing's brought me this much joy in a long time. Like, I really enjoyed watching The Bear, but that was a different level of, like, wholesome cozy, even though it's kind of stressful at times, whereas this is just like 100% I love being with these people, and the stakes are like the perfect level, and I'm dying. Like, basically every time Gregory does anything, I'm like cackling, basically. Like, there's an episode with gardening, I'll just leave it at that, but if you've watched that episode, dying, absolutely dying. Anyways, that's his check-in. If you want to leave an emoji, I don't know, leave an alien emoji for interference, maybe we'll do that because it's space sort of thing. And otherwise, let me know what you're reading, doing, watching, and like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.